Why is it that you're doing the right work, but for some reason the results aren't matching? Like, everything should be right. You should feel happy and successful, but for some reason you don't. Like, maybe you're doing something wrong because you did the right thing, you followed the right advice, but something just isn't clicking. In this video, I'm going to help you identify if you're on the wrong path and how to shift out of it and discover your unique right path to success. Let's get into this video. So, first and foremost, we have to define, well, what does right mean and what does wrong mean? What does the right path look like and what does the wrong path look like? Okay. All right, so, right. The definition of right is when something feels correct, right? The direction that we are in feels correct. It matches our morals, values. So it's like morally right. Feels correct, morals, value. And it manifests itself as a feeling of content. We're doing it the right way, right? But now, when we are doing something the wrong way, wrong generally feels unlawful. Like we're lying, deceitful, incorrect. But the feeling that we associate wrongness is often one that is unfair. So the wrong path feels unfair, while the right path, we experience a level of contentment. What does contentment mean? Contentment is a state of mental ease, peace, a level of fulfillment. However, when we feel like something is unfair manifests itself as an emotional experience of frustration, as pain, right? It's unfair. It's not, like, I should be earning more. That's not fair, right? So that's why we may believe that the path that we are on is incorrect. We're on the wrong path. Why? Because the results aren't matching our effort. Therefore, that must be unfair, because there's someone that is possibly in the same industry that you are in, but their results, their level of happiness, their effortlessness to go about their work is one that should mirror you, that should match you, but for some reason it doesn't. So therefore, by definition, one person is on the right path to their success, while you may no longer be on the right path. You may be on the wrong path. All right, so how do we shift out of the wrong path and into the right path? Right? Now that we understand that the right path is going to bring us a level of contentment, a feeling of fulfillment, mental stillness, and one is going to leave us feeling unfair. All right? Like the results are unfair. So, key is fulfillment. Right? Fulfillment. When we feel fulfilled, when we feel content, we accept the present moment. Right? We don't have any immediate desires for something more. We don't have much desires. As in, you are much more present. You're in the present moment. Now, when we are in the wrong path manifests itself as a mental experience of unfairness. So this brings us to the mind, right? It keeps us in pain. And anytime that we are in pain, right, we feel it in the physical body. And when we're in the body, we feel heavy, right? Heavy. So we can associate heavy as time, right? Because we experience the pain of something being unfair. We're not present in the moment. Why? Because we want to escape. It's natural for us to want to escape. This is why, as students, when we're in class and we don't care for what we're learning, we naturally tend to drift off. We listen to music. Why? Because we want to escape the present moment. And one that brings us a level of contentment, of fulfillment, of peace. So by definition, if you are on the right path, you are naturally more present and more fulfilled. But if you are on the wrong path keeps you locked up in your mind, thinking about another moment. But the thing is, something I learned from a book called The Power of Now, identification with the mind keeps us forever in search of another moment. It keeps us in the mind. Because the mind unconsciously likes problems. The more problems we have, we tend to identify with those problems. I went through this, my life is like this. So we get caught up in this loop. And for some reason, tomorrow never comes. But tomorrow never comes because we are too identified with the mind. This is keeping us stuck. We're suffering. When we're on the wrong path, everything just feels unfair. So how do we increase the level of fairness? How do we get on a path? How do we know, okay, which career do I take? What change do I make now that I am aware that I am in my mind and not in the present moment? Right? I'm unfulfilled. Okay. Okay. So, it's very normal to when we are growing up for us to be influenced by our environment, right? So we're going to call this our identity, right? It's normal that we are influenced by our immediate environment, our family, friends, the people around us. The people around us play a big part on who we perceive ourselves to be, right? Friends, family, environment, experiences. These experiences, what they do is they create internal beliefs. And so these beliefs, they influence our actions. And then these actions produce our outcomes, the results we get in our life. So it's very normal that when you are on your climb to success, right, you may reach a point where you're no longer fulfilled. You're no longer happy. Again, the right path to success would bring you towards the present moment, right? You'll feel good with or without payment. I want to ask you guys, if you stop getting paid temporarily, if you stop getting paid for the work that you are doing, would you be happy? Would that be okay with you? 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be happy. And if you're not going to be happy and you can't keep the job, right? And you wake up and you almost dread going to work because now you're not getting paid for it. That's a sign that you've outgrown that path. You're not on the right path anymore to success. So this means that the right path, right? The right path is more internal than external. It's more internal. Internal. The right path is something internal. And if it is something internal, then what rules our internal state is our emotions. Emotions. How do we know if we like something or if we don't? Because it makes us feel positive emotions. So this is very normal, right? It's very normal. When you are growing up, you are influenced by your environment, right? By your friends, by your family. Therefore, this instills a sense of self. I should be happy. I want to go after this because my dad liked that. My brother did good in that, did well in that. But now all of a sudden, you have that job, you have that career, you have the business, but for some reason, you're not, it's like you feel like you have more potential. So now you feel stuck. You feel like you're on the wrong path. Well, that is an internal state. That is an internal signal. That is an internal signal that now you are no longer on the right path to yourself, to what you approve of. You're not happy with yourself because to your friends and family, they may think that you are a success. You're earning the money. You did everything you wanted to do, but why aren't you happy? Well, then this must mean that the right path is one that fulfills us internally. It's one that invokes a greater emotion. And if it is one that invokes a greater emotion, then the path to your success is one that also invokes a higher emotion. Right? And by definition, that must mean that the wrong path keeps us stuck in low emotions. This is the wrong path. The wrong path keeps you stuck in low emotions. What are examples of low emotions? Fear, anger, shame, guilt. So how do we begin to think about, or the change, what possible change can I make to the career I'm in, to the business I'm in, to the path that I'm currently on, right? Be still. Be still is a very powerful sentence. Why? Because success would manifest itself as a level of fulfillment. Fulfillment would manifest itself as a level of contentment, of mental stillness. So you're naturally in a relaxed state. And we are trying to shift out of the old you and into who you really are. So this becomes a self-discovery journey of who are you? How do you discover who you are and your unique interests? You need to be still. Stillness is how you get out of your mind. It's how you reflect and get those answers. It's one way in which you get those answers. Stillness. And why is stillness important to unlocking your unique path? Because when you are still, right, I'm not saying you have to sit there and meditate and do nothing, right? For some of you guys, that may look very illogical. Like, all right, I got bills, right? But stillness is when you're able to just be. Be. Your unique path is one that brings you to a level of stillness inside and outside. As in, you feel aligned without any external manifestations of money or status. Therefore, you are able to just be. And when you are able to just be, you are free. Because you are able to be yourself. You are free. Because you're able to be yourself. So your unique path is one that unlocks or allows, in this case, for you to be yourself. Because where you are right now, possibly, you are just doing what you have been programmed or what you thought would fulfill you, would bring you the success that you want. But for some reason, you don't feel fulfilled. You're always living in an imaginary future, but that future never comes. The only thing there is the present moment. So how do you start living in the moment? The only way you're going to get in the moment is you need to get out of your mind. And for you to do that, you need to enjoy. You need to rise to a level of joy. You need to rise internally your state of being, your emotional experience. You need to have the courage to make a change in your life, because fear is what is going to keep you stuck. Okay? Fear is going to keep you stuck. How do I know if I be myself, if it's working for me to attract the results that I want, for me to get the success that I desire? What do you mean by just be myself? Okay? To be is one of the highest levels of awareness. We can associate enlightenment. To reach a level of enlightenment is for you to be yourself. Is for you to live in the present moment. This means that we rise above our mind. Therefore, we are in a non-dualistic, non-dual reality. As in, we feel complete, whole within ourselves, love, unconditional. Right? Non-dual reality means that everything is perfect in life. Your perception of life is, I had to go through everything because I needed to go through everything. There's almost no pain. You're not living in your mind anymore. When you're living in your mind, there's endless need for another moment. There's endless desires. You're constantly judging yourself. I don't have enough. I need this to be happy. I need to earn this amount of money. You're stuck. That keeps you on the wrong path. The right path is one where you are pushing towards completeness and wholeness. But how do we reach completeness and wholeness? Well, we need to have a level of courage. Courage is what is going to get us out of fear. Right? Fear. Because when we are in fear, say courage is the path. Alright? Our interest marks the path. Right? When we are in fear, we live in our mind. Therefore, we experience pain. Therefore, we feel like a failure. Right? But what's the opposite of fear? The opposite of fear is courage. And the more courage you take to make a change, to leave your job, to hire a new employee, to solve something, to do something different, right? You are now changing the timeline that you are on. You are unlocking a new awareness, a new sense of self. Therefore, this unlocks the path, because the path is one of growth. Your unique path is one that is going to challenge you and force you to grow, but in a way where you feel content in the process, right? Because you have a high interest in that unique path. You're growing. You want to study. You want to stay up late night and take the risks. Why? Because you're interested in it. So this is your unique path. And the longer that you pursue that path, you're going to feel more complete, more higher emotions, more whole within yourself, more proud of yourself, versus if you stick with the same job, same business, wherever you're at, you're going to continuously, perpetually experience pain and say, I'm a failure. Right? Your path is going to force you to grow, but it's a path where you are pursuing yourself because you are interested in that path. And this is going to bring you to the present moment. The present moment feels free, rich. And the longer you feel free and rich, according to the law of attraction, like attracts like, success will be yours. That's why they say success is something you attract, not something you chase. I hope this video helped you guys.